Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Gangster Podcast. I'm your host, M.P.S, and for today's Guest Spotlight Wednesday, we have Linda Lemos, a writer, caregiver, doctoral student, and someone whose life story is deeply rooted in resilience, faith, identity, and rebuilding through difficult seasons. Linda's journey has been shaped by balancing education, family responsibilities, creativity, personal healing, and spiritual growth, while also navigating serious health challenges that have forced her to reflect on mortality, purpose, and what it truly means to keep moving forward when life feels uncertain. Her work and message speak to the people who quietly carry heavy things while still trying to create a meaningful life. This conversation is about perseverance, identity, caregiving, healing, spirituality, and finding purpose in pain. Oh, Linda, welcome to the Spiritual Gangster Podcast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being on your podcast and your show. I think it's the first. I don't think I've ever been on a show that connects the spiritual with the gangster, but I'm here for it.
Hey, I'm glad you're here for it. So to get started, when you look back at your journey, what experiences shaped you into the woman that you are today?
Wow, I love that question. What experiences? Honestly, I think what shaped me the most and shaped me into the woman that I am today has been that I started working at a very early age and that I've endured a lot of hardships. And I saw a lot of bad characters early on. So I saw a lot of people that didn't have integrity, that were a little shady, but had a lot of success in the world, you know? And they've been on the news, and now they're in jail, right? And then it's really interesting because sometimes we idolize a lot of these people, a lot of celebrities, and then we don't realize who they really are. You know, you don't know someone until you spend a significant amount of time with them. So I feel that I'm a person that learns by watching others. And I think if you can be one of those individuals that learns from watching others and learns from other people's mistakes, you are very much ahead of the game. Like, you don't have to go through everything yourself to learn.
Absolutely. So was there a season where you felt disconnected from yourself, and what helped you rebuild?
I think the season that I completely felt disconnected was when I was doing my internship at Warner Music Group. And I am first generation college student, so I have no one in my family that understands college or anything about it. And I was thrown into the entertainment world. So, and I also don't have like an uncle that's like a vice president of anything or anything like that. It felt very much like a out of body experience being in the entertainment industry. And it also felt what's imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because all of a sudden, here I am. I'm like this girl from a working class neighborhood of Orange, New Jersey, that ends up going to college. And all of a sudden, I'm meeting all these celebrities, and you can get really lost really quick. I think when you step in industries like that, there's so much that appears to be real, and it's not.
And it's not what it seems.
It's not what it seems at all. So definitely the imposter syndrome was very hard hitting. But one of the things I realized was I think that those certain moments where I felt like this is weird, that's when you have to listen to your intuition.
Absolutely.
Like,
It can be so hard to differentiate, though. It can be.
yes. Like, am I the only one that's noticing this? Like, where's the cameras? Obviously, it's corporations, so cameras are everywhere in those type of places. It was fun, though, because I worked in facilities, and they put cameras everywhere. So behind the mirrors in the bathrooms, they put microphones everywhere. Yes, I am spilling the tea and I don't care. No one made me sign a non-disclosure agreement, so
Hey,
I
you
don't care.
came to the Spiritual Gangster podcast
Yeah.
to let us know what's been going on.
Yes, yes. So there's mics in a lot of places and a lot of these huge corporations. Microphones are inside the plants. There's cameras inside clocks, inside of art installments. So it is very Big Brother-ish a little bit,
Right?
There is no privacy. A lot of people don't know that because they didn't work in the department I worked in. I knew because I saw the guys installing the camera, doing the mics. So I was like, oh, okay, this is different, This is definitely not a grocery store. This is different. Yeah, so I noticed that. And then how much security there is in those buildings and how many cameras and closed circuit closed circuit television that they have. So that was it was very interesting. I was like, I've never been this monitored
Ever.
like in my ever in my entire life. Um, and it's really interesting. I feel like people forget though, after a while, since they're so used to coming into work, people just forget and start like acting way too comfortable.
Way too comfortable. Exactly. So you mentioned about being a first generation there. So what has your first generation experience taught you about belonging and self-worth?
Well, no one's going to make you feel 100% comfortable. And
Yeah.
one of the great examples of that right now is The Devil Wears Prada. Part 2 of that movie is out, right? Like, obviously, they didn't, the poor Andy, right? Who is Anne Hathaway, they didn't make her feel comfortable at all, right?
No.
And sadly, there's a lot of places like that. And there's two options. You either stay because you have your bills to pay like everyone else, and you stay and you kind of like, you either learn to fit in or you decide to leave and you fit in, but also, kind of keep a little bit of yourself as well. Don't completely dismiss who you are
Right.
to be someone that has to be 100% liked. And you can't tolerate everything from everyone because then you become a welcoming mat and then you're just taking on verbal abuse or whatever else there is. So yeah, first generation for me was very difficult, but I was grateful because I set out to the library and I grabbed books. I grabbed books from this lady called Irma Rico, and she became rich because she had shares in a television channel called Univision. She was one
Yeah.
of the first and one of the first employees in this huge network. It's a Spanish speaking network, but it's
Yeah,
as
I've
big
heard of it.
as
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Channel 4. I think they actually merged with Channel 4 recently. So it's huge. And that's how she finally gets like her big break, right? With regards to finances. So for me, it was learning how to navigate the 20-year corporate career and to scale up. I wasn't there, I didn't attend school to just stay as a receptionist for the rest of my life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that and you have other sources of incomes and you're comfortable. That's great. But for many people, the a receptionist position doesn't pay all your bills.
No, definitely not. So, how did balancing caregiving, healing, education, and family responsibilities affect you emotionally and spiritually?
Woo. That's like four questions in
I
one.
know.
I right. Well, here's the thing. None of us are prepared to be caregivers, and we don't talk about it in the American culture. There are other cultures that it's just ingrained in their culture. Like the Chinese, they usually have their parents or grandparents with them. In the Indian culture, very common to see up to 3 or 4 generations in a huge house, and there's the aunts and the uncles, very normal. But I feel in the American mainstream culture, it's not. They're usually at a home, but let's tell the truth. Nursing homes are for people that have homes that could sell them and could use that money in order to pay the nursing homes. But nursing homes are astronomical. It's an astronomical rate. The government doesn't help you pay for one. They help you for about 30 days, and then then you're escorted out, and
Yeah.
that's it. That's your rehabilitation from a hospital stay. They'll do that. But after that, it's you're on your own. There is no crash course. I'm happy that I'm writing a chapter about it in my upcoming book that's coming out on my memoir, because I know that for a lot of even my classmates and some of my friends, they haven't gone through this because their parents are younger, but they will probably in the next decade. They're
Absolutely.
getting close to it. And the first thing you have to do is get your house in order with regards to caregiving. Who's going to do it? Have a conversation if you have siblings. Are they going to help? Don't beg for the help, because then it becomes a constant argument, and then it's an argument that favors no one. And people who want to help, it has to come from their heart because they want to help. So if they don't, just let it go, because or else you're going to be more upset, and it's going to be a horrible situation, and you're going to be so upset. So if they help, great. If they don't, I always say that to my siblings or to any person I have an argument with. Well, that's up to you and your God.
That's right.
You and your God, and whatever God you worship, you take that up with them, not
Ooh,
with me. They
that's right.
have to break it down like that. So house in order, which means talk to your parents while they're still able-minded
Hmm.
and able-bodied. What do you want? What do you want as your care? What kind of funeral arrangements? Are you having a funeral or just a memorial service? Get through the financial part of it as well. That's the the biggest burden many times is the aftercare and the funeral arrangements. Do they want one? Do they not want one? Is anyone giving you monies for it? Or, so that's in order. There are people that are forward thinking and plan for their future. And I met a wonderful couple. My friend's grandparents did that. They had the plot and and it was a
Yep.
family plot, and they planned every single thing out, and they penny pinched, and like they wore hand-me-downs, and like they really like structured it. But most families aren't organized like that, and many families live day to day, and they get a paycheck, it comes in and it comes out, and there's no real future planning. So I think that's the first thing. Who's going to be the caregiver, right? And the third is, for the caregiver, you have to know that you're going to have to slow down or reimagine what your job or your career is going to look like. You may have to pivot. And you have to still continuously do something, because if you don't, we get that horrible HR meeting where when you sit down for a job after, God willing, your parents have passed away or whatever has happened, right? And then they ask you, I see a gap here. What have you done? Right? And it's like, are we not humans? Do we not have lives outside of work? Like, can we not travel or spend time with a loved one or care for family? Or some people have children, right? Can we not do other things besides work? Can we not? Maybe we had a property and we sold it and we had a little extra, you know what I mean? And we made that last, whatever the situation is, right? So I always say that to people: get something going. For me, education became a wonderful goal to have while taking care of my parents. It helps me achieve other jobs and more of management level and C-level positions that I haven't had before. It gives me opportunities and doors that open that I wouldn't have normally had I not gone onto this route into my doctoral program. I enjoy it. I can do it at my own pace. And, sometimes there's meetings, and I get to connect with other colleagues and even create friendships with these individuals, which is so important, because so many people lose friendships like around 40.
Oh yeah.
Like 35, 40, when you start to
That's
get
okay.
married, your family, your kids,
Yeah.
there's so much of your time, moms become caregivers too, to their children and to their husbands, especially when they catch a cold, right?
Right.
So forth. So, and then it's like, hey, I kind of missed having like a social life, but besides the family, it's nice to, have friends. So it gives you an opportunity to continuously meet new people. So it's a great incentive for that. You grow your network. Your network becomes larger with school as well. And it's great. You have a reference, or someone may open up a company and they may think of you to come work with them. And that's happened to me. So thank you to all my classmates that have hired me as a consultant. I appreciate your
You're
business.
like, I appreciate you.
I do. It gives you a little break. Yeah.
So, did you ever struggle with guilt while trying to care for yourself and others at the same time?
Oh my God, yes. And I didn't I've heard parents say that they had like parents guilt, like if they went on vacation or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew how much of a caregiver's guilt you have, but I felt it. It's taken me, so I've been caregiving for 14 years. So
Woo.
obviously it's become more progressive as my parents have aged and required more care. The first 10 years, I just felt like Superwoman and never took a break, and it was fine. But recently, luckily, I've had wonderful friends of mine who have, who have asked to come on to the shift and to help. Obviously they get paid. You have to pay your friends too, people. So they're nurses, and they give me a day off, a day or two off, or if I'm traveling. And it's wonderful because my parents, they're like almost part of the family now.
Yeah.
And they're in great care. They're in better care than it's private care. It's better care that they would ever receive, like in a nursing home or anything like that. And this gives me the opportunity, if I need a week off, to travel. It gives me, she comes in once a week, sometimes twice a week. If I have to run errands, or oh my God, if I need to get my nails done or a pedicure, it's like
Right? Come on.
freedom.
Help me out. Yeah, the respite would be, respite is so important
Mhm.
so that you don't get burnt out. You need to be able to do those things, which kind of leads me in to my next question that I've got for you. Like, what have you learned about burnout and boundaries?
You have to take a break. And that's from everything. Even if you have a family, even if you have a husband, and you love and adore him or whatever it is, even husband, like, I understand there are couples that are like Velcro, and I'm not her. I'm like, if I have, I've had boyfriends and I'm like, if you want to go golfing, go and enjoy yourself. If you want to spend time with your family and I don't have to be there, please go. Go spend time with your brother. It's fine. Like, I'll survive, So I think that's important too, to recognize that your significant other has other roles to fill besides loving you. They're somebody's brother, they're somebody's uncle, they're somebody's son. They still have to, do for their parents or care for their parents. So that, give some freedom to family members, just in general. We don't have to
Exactly.
be Velcro.
Exactly. Were there moments where uncertainty challenged your beliefs?
Oh, absolutely. I remember moving because at the time, at the start of my caregiving, we were in two different households. So I had finally had gotten my fabulous apartment that I always dreamed of, because I was the girl that watched Sex in the City, and like, this is exciting, and this is very American, and this is, that's what I pictured in my head. Does it work out like Sex in the City?
Ooh.
No, that is fiction.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. So, and I had to work really hard, and I had my own place, and it was just absolutely fabulous. I had it was apartment, and the center court was a bonsai Japanese garden. So it was really cool. It's a little fancy, little luxurious. And then I ended up working two jobs to keep that luxury. But I liked my second job. I was a stylist, and I dressed a lot of prominent business people in New Jersey. So it was great. It was a great way to meet people. But yeah, so we were in two different households. We had to combine it. We finally move in. I get this beautiful new apartment so that my parents and I can share the living space, just because it's just financially and physically, it was going to be so much easier. I wouldn't have to travel 30 minutes to come get them or
Yeah.
meet them or take them to a doctor's appointment and so forth. And that day, and my dad had a situation, he ended up going to the hospital. So it's just me and my mom, and I'm sitting at the dining room table. And I guess it finally like hit me, like what was happening and what was going on. We all have those moments where we're just checking off the list and doing
Yeah, we're on
things.
autopilot.
Yeah, I was on autopilot, and at that time, I was working as an administrative assistant for a construction company in New Jersey. I sat here in the dining room table, and I just started crying.
It's like, it's real. It's really real.
My mom was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm crying because I realize how much responsibility this is gonna be." And it's a shocker. And it's you go from being on your own, living on your own, just caring for yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to, whatever you want to do, you can do. You have no schedule, you have no hours except for work, right? To a situation where it's like you have to call your friends to come over to give you a break.
How it is sometimes, though. It's how it's gotta be.
Yes, but you know what's cute is that we've been able to have great moments as a family. It's so much easier for me as a caregiver to have them under my roof. Eventually, probably in the next 2 years, I probably will have staff more on a full-time basis, and I will be exiting and just prioritizing more of my work. But what's great is that I work from home, so I can always like supervise and,
Yeah, you're still there. You're still
I'm
present.
still there. So I'm excited for that part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that happens to everyone where you have to let go a little bit and transition
Yeah.
into something else. And that's going to be a great thing. But the best part of us living together is that both my mom and dad participated in my fourth book that's coming out as well, probably next year, in my memoir. So the first two chapters is I pulled from sitting down and interviewing my mom and my dad, you know.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So for them, they're like, "What? We're gonna be part of a book." I was like, "Yes, it's gonna be
Yes.
featuring, Gloria, which is my mom, and Juan, which is my dad." So I thought that was really cool, and it's such a like when you'll probably get a copy of my book, and let me tell you, you'll towards the end of it, it's very much American themed and very much like the American dream, you know, folks just hoping and wishing and just looking for a better economy and a better government and a better living situation and cost of living for themselves. And my mom did it the right way. My mom went, she'd walk every day to the United States embassy that's in their country of Uruguay. And that's how she got in. And she was like, so immigration is very complicated, whether you're on the right, left, whatever side you're on, But I think what's great about this book, it's that it paints immigration in a different light, and it shows people how to do it the right way, right? To
Yeah,
not have these horrible, negative consequences,
exactly.
and the chapter, the first two chapter kind of urges that of learning what you have to do legally and the best prospects, for you and your family. Because it's not easy, and one of the most expensive things in the world, I think. And I think this is why so many people want to be an attorney is legal, right? Laws.
Ooh,
Nobody It's so expensive,
so
right? To do
expensive.
forms and applications and all those things. So it's like if you're gonna do something, try to do it the right way the first time so
Exactly.
that
Save
you're
yourself some grief.
some grief, because for God's sakes, it's horrendous. And some governments are more strict and some governments are more lenient, and that's what it is. But I think hopefully it paints a better picture of immigrants in general. But it gives hope to people, I think.
Okay, so what emotions came up during your health uncertainty?
Oh, let me tell you. So this happened in 2021 we were like trying to get through COVID. I think it was almost the end of COVID. At that time we were masking, we were spraying ourselves with sanitizer, our whole body with sanitizers, right? And so 2021, that's the year that I graduated with my first master's degree. So I'm at the gym, I realize I can't breathe. I'm like, I can't, I'm trying to do elliptical, I can't go faster, I'm not going further. Like, it feels like I have a cat sitting on my chest. That's what it feels like. So I called the doctor. He's like, you have to go see a pulmonologist, a lung doctor. I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't smoke or anything like that. So I go there. He gives me a test. He's about to give me the answer. And I tell him, no, don't give me the answer. He's like, but Linda, and I'm like, no, no, no. I have a party scheduled, okay? And everything's paid for. And we have the location. Everyone's coming in a mask. They're going to get their vaccine. It's going to be great, okay? We have like these germ spray things. I don't know. We ordered a cake. It's my first graduation party that I've ever had. And I have family and I have friends. I have family coming from another state. And it's going to be great, you know? And I said, I don't want to know. Because if it's good news, okay, great. And if it's bad news, and it's like just kills your whole vibe, right?
Yeah,
So
it kills the vibe.
I was like, you can hold on to that for give me 3 weeks. So had my graduation party. It was a blast. I had so much fun. Studying during COVID was not easy, but at the same time, it was like, what else were you going to do? Everything was shut down and closed.
It was the best time to do it, I think.
Yeah. I think that's why me and my classmates bonded so much, because it's like we would have classes, like an hour long classes through Zoom. And you looked forward to seeing people, even through a screen, for God's sakes, because, you know, COVID was so isolating, especially here in America. So that's what happened. And then I go back into the doctor's office, and he's like, Linda, I have to tell you something. I actually didn't go into the office. We had a virtual meeting. And in the video, he's like, he doesn't know how to tell me the bad news. And he's like, you have sarcoidosis. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have sarcoidosis. First of all, I was like, I don't even know what that is. What it's
Right, yeah, I don't know what that is.
So I'm like, okay, great. So what are you going to do? You're going to give me like some inhalers and I'll be fine, right? And he was like, not exactly, Linda. And I was like, what do you mean, not exactly? He's like, well, I think this is one of those things that maybe will go away on its own. So I'm going to prescribe you this inhalers or anything. I'm like, okay, I'll take the inhalers. So I went about my business, like, oh, you know, I have this thing. It's in my lungs. You know, I'll be fine. At that moment, I was stage 4 of sarcoidosis in the lungs. So I was literally one more stage away from having fibrosis in the lungs, which means your lungs get so hard and stiff that they're no use. And then you end up needing oxygen. So it can get very serious very quickly. But the problem was that many of the doctors that I went to, I was their first sarcoidosis patient they had ever seen.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and it's a disease that allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly, that predominantly hits the African American community. However, I have a group on Facebook, over 11,000 members, and we're from so many different countries. And there's white, and there's black, and there's Chinese, and there's Indian. So I think they need to redo that survey or whatever.
yeah.
So a lot of doctors would see me and they would say, you can't have this. This is impossible that you have it. You're not, you know, you're a white girl, you know? And I was like, you know, I feel appalled. First of all, what does that mean? No, I really do have it. Here's the results. You see the results on there. So I was appalled by that. And I was like, you're fired. Obviously, you don't know what you're talking about. You're fired. I will hire the doctors and I will fire them gladly. So yeah, it was hard. It was about a year of adjustment, because the thing with sarcoidosis is that it is an inflammatory disease that creates cell tissues called granulomas that attacks every organ of your body. So without medication, it can get very serious very quickly. So you can't breathe, you can't walk. There's going to be moments you can't talk, you can't swallow, you can't eat. That's one of the first two signs of sarcoidosis for me was headaches at the back of my head and not being able to eat and have anything go down.
Oh,
So I was absolutely miserable. Went like that for like a year. And I went to other doctors and they give me some type of medicine. They were like, oh, maybe cut your coffee, cut this, cut that. But no, it's probably because I had granulomas in my stomach at that moment. But I wasn't diagnosed. So I started feeling like crap in 2013, but it took 2021 to be diagnosed. So it took a while.
yeah.
And even with the diagnosis, they didn't know how to treat me. So a couple of months go by and I can't breathe. My breathing became worse. I would wake up and my eyes would be swollen shut. So I couldn't open my eyes because they'd swell so badly. I had a moment where I couldn't swallow because my lymph nodes had swollen up so much.
Oh,
Oh no, it's ridiculous. The joint pain was severe. So all of a sudden, like every single joint of my body, from my knuckles to my toes to my knees to even my shoulders and my elbows, extreme pain, like a knife stabbing each single joint.
oh,
And it was the weirdest thing because sometimes I felt like the pain would just travel. I ended up losing my hair as well, like in just large clubs. So it was very much not just internal, but it was physical as well. And with regards to sarcoidosis, or if you have cancer or lupus or any of these immune diseases, um, it takes a toll on you, but you have to become like a warrior. You can't just give up on it. You have to learn to live with it, find really good doctors, find good medication, and have good management. A lot of these things can be managed with good medicine, and you can live a somewhat of a normal life and a modified life. So luckily, after a few months of all that pain, I call my pulmonary doctor. He tells me you need to see a rheumatologist. There's only one on my medical plan. She was booked for 8 months, so I wouldn't be able to see her for 8 months. And then he calls her and says, no, you need to see her. So even if it's before you start your shift or after, he really pushed for me to see my rheumatologist. She was the key to the management of this disease. So I got medication for it. And since then, I've been a spokesperson and I've also did a webinar for the for FSR, which is the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. I help new patients that come in and I become kind of like their guide with regards to how they feel, who to talk to, what support groups to join. It's really good to have a support group with whatever chronic disease you have, because honestly, nobody else can understand you except for another patient.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone currently living in fear or uncertainty?
Woo, that they're right. They're absolutely right. Fear and uncertainty, that that's the world that we live in. I don't know if the world was ever better, but I think there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of uncertainty that doesn't have to be there. It all depends on who's the manager, who's the government, those things.
Mhm.
But in all things, I think it's about learning how to manage uncertainty, which is not easy. For God's sakes, it took me 20 years to learn how to do that. I never thought I would have sarcoidosis. I was like always pretty healthy as a kid. I only had to see the doctor maybe once a year. So I never thought I'd have it, but I've learned to manage it. And it's learning what new opportunities you have, even in the uncertainty. So, okay, maybe I can't come into work every single day like a 9 to 5, but I can do a podcast. I could write a book. I could be a guest of a podcast. I, I can become a speaker. So I think it's learning what else and what other skills you can do, and just learn to hone in on those, and learn to profit and to see what else you can do. I think
Absolutely.
we should never sell ourselves short.
No, absolutely not. So, what does finding purpose through pain mean to you?
You know, the pain of sarcoidosis is extreme. It can get to the point where people are prescribed pain medication. Um, but what was my purpose in the sarcoidosis? What's the purpose of all this pain?
Mhm.
The purpose of pain, whether it's emotional or physical, there's usually a lesson to be learned. When it's emotional and you have a breakup, there's always a why at the end of that breakup. Why did you break up with this individual? And, whether it's a friendship or a personal relationship, some people are seasonal. They're only here for a little bit, and then that was their season. They ended the season and you move on in your life. When it's physical, I think sometimes it can be a call to action. Okay, do I have to monitor what I'm eating? There's a lot of stuff that says natural foods and it's not. Do I have to look a little bit closer at my ingredients and the branding of certain foods? Do I need to exercise? What can I do? All these things are sometimes a wake up call as well.
Mhm.
I will tell you that American food versus European food is very different. And that I went to Spain for a week and lost 20 pounds, and I was eating all the time. So I was like,
So the
and
crap's
like my,
not in it. The crap's not.
yeah, there is so much preservatives and so much stuff in American food that it's like,
There is. I mean, I'm in Canada, and
huh?
I even know that there's differences between our food. Like I've seen, like, just for an example, like Fruit Loops, like the US Fruit Loops compared to the Canadian Fruit Loops. Like ours has no artificial dyes. It's like fruit coloring. And like you look at the ones, I saw a video where they compared them, and it was like the US ones are like glowing. They're so bright. And then ours are like a dim kind of color, and that's just what we're used to. But it's like, no, there is so much bad stuff. We do need to really pay attention to our food.
Yeah, definitely. But you're in Canada, you're safer. Be safe. Stay over there. That's like my backup country. I have friends in Canada. One of my
We
my
got you.
best
We got you.
Yeah, one of my best friends are in Canada. I remember like our first conversations this past year. I was like, whatever my country's government is doing, I do not support. Just period. Like,
Yeah. You're like, it is, don't, it's not me. I'm not a part of this. Not at all. No. Okay. So I'm curious to know, what role has writing played in your healing journey?
let me see. So my first two books were books that happened by accident. They were like part of a school project. So they were my research books.
Yeah.
The first one was about the laws of social media, and should the USA have regulations with regards to social media and the laws that cover it. And a lot of people don't realize, like, you can't do a lot of the things you do on social media. So number one, don't call anyone by any names, because that can get you in trouble. So with social media in the United States, you have to be careful with slander and defamation. So those are the two things. Also, like, stop arguing with strangers. Just tell them, just bless their hearts, and keep moving.
Keep it moving. Yeah.
Yeah, so those two, so that one, and then the second one, I was the co-author with my my colleague, Macaulay Minton, who really wanted to know a political question, and it was a research about, would Kentucky voters ban assault weapons? And we did the research. We had a research company go out there, research about 600 individuals. It was very interesting, and I can't tell you what the ending of the research is, but it was very interesting because Kentucky is very guns are part of Kentucky. Guns are very much part of their culture. And you'll see gentlemen wearing their guns out in daylight, but they have issues with it. One of the strongest issues is that many times people get into a heated argument and then it leads into a gunfight, like it's still the wild, wild west when it didn't have to lead to that, you know? So it was very interesting research, but I'm like dying to tell you the ending of it, but I can't. You might have to go on
Yeah.
Amazon and find the book. And so right now I'm taking a little bit of a breather from my memoir. My memoir has been very hard. I thought,
So that's what I mean. So like, has that book that's helping with the healing journey, or part of it at least? I mean, the
oh,
unloading, if it's a memoir, absolutely.
yeah, well, you definitely unload. And there were days that was really hard. Chapter 4 for me was probably the hardest chapter for me to write because as you're writing your memoir, you're reliving some of these moments, and some of them are really, really scary moments that you live through and you go through, and that's what helps you build resilience. You know, resilience isn't built when you have good times and you feel safe and everything's great.
Right.
Resilience is built when you're surrounded by shady characters and people that want to harm you or can harm you. So yeah, so chapter 4 was really hard. Entertainment industry was very difficult as well. There's more stories to come out from the entertainment industry. I mean, I think they just lightly tapped, and the news and the reporters have just lightly
Yeah,
tapped,
raise the surface.
raised through the surface. I'm sure you guys have heard about
Oh
the
yeah.
Epstein files, and
Oh yeah.
the Diddy parties, and the
Yeah.
Epstein files, and all that. But there's more characters to those
Oh, I
situations,
have no doubt. I have
yeah,
no
that they
doubt.
haven't divulged. So I touched a little bit about that, and about meeting Diddy as well. So I kind of give the reader an insider look into it. That okay, people read here and there, but they weren't in the industry. They didn't work with him. They don't know how the industry moves, how the extremely long hours that they have, entertainment industry, especially Sony. Sony works, a lot of those employees can work up to 17 hours in one day, but only get paid for 8 hours.
Wow.
So yeah, it can get very extreme very quickly. So I think that was really great for me to kind of like disclose a little bit the entertainment industry. I've What's great about the book, it started as a way for me to stay connected to my mentees. And there are stories that are work related, like about sabotage, or when you have someone at work that, you know, you rub off the wrong way, or maybe they see you as a competitor, especially in some of these office places. There's a lot of competition. It really doesn't have to be that way, but the culture makes it that way, right? So I said I have to divulge and I have to tell these stories because it's gonna help the next generation, especially the students that I mentor. I mentor throughout across the United States, across the nation. How do I tell them, hey, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate? What happens when your boss tries to hit on you? You know, are you obligated to say yes to everything your boss tells you to do? How to navigate through that type of uncomfortable harassment situation, right? Because that's what it is. It can turn into a sexual harassment situation. Um, is there such thing as office love or corporate love or whatever? So I go through all those things. Yeah, you're saying no,
Yeah,
but
I'm
yeah, I
like,
go through
what?
all those things because when you're 20 years old and all you knew was your high school, and maybe you have only 1 or 2 jobs under your belt, and you are thrown into a world with these folks that are 30, 40, 50, 60 year olds. And a lot of the executives, they have like a Hugh Hefner Playboy type of lifestyle. And that's the best way for me to say it in a
Yeah.
educated way to
Yeah.
say it, right?
Wild.
And
They're living
yes,
wild lives.
yes, and some companies are ran like fraternities or sororities, and it may not be a fit for you. You may be
Yeah.
like, I didn't go to school for all this, you know.
Right. Wow.
It's, you know, work is work. There's a time for work and there's a time for party. And there's a time like you shouldn't be doing that
You
with your
shouldn't be doing
kids.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
At
Period.
all.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, and I kind of go through that, and I hope that people will learn from the good things and from the bad things. I think that's what's great about memoirs. You learn from the good of what the person did good, you learn from the bad. And sometimes it's great when you can find a chapter that you're like, oh my God, this person went through the same thing that I went through. You know, I've read so many memoirs. The Bella twins, they're WWE female wrestlers in the US, and they had their memoir, and I read their memoir, and I was like almost in tears because we went through similar things. They had also started entertainment industry. They were also a receptionist. One of the twins was a receptionist in entertainment industry, and I think almost at the same time that I was. So it's like you'll find things from memoirs, and I've always been a fan of self-help books. So if like my misery, my pain,
Yes.
my financial distress, when I've had financial distress, if you can learn from all those things, and when I've been ganged up on, when I've been jumped, physically, all those things, if you can learn from all those things, then you're going to come out so
You're
much
gonna come
better
out stronger. Yeah.
and stronger and know what to manage and what to say yes to and what to say no to.
Right.
You know, don't compromise your morals and your values just to keep a job. Or,
Right.
you are paid to do a job, and you don't really have to like kiss anybody's rear to hold it. The one thing I did learn in the office is to be polite. The office setting many times is you're not in retail. Retail is great. You have a stock room for the most part. You
Yeah.
can run into the stock room and just be all upset and then come out and be like, "Here's your shoes, ma'am,"
Yeah.
and be like, you don't have that in the office, so it's not easy. You have to keep a good demeanor. You have to be professional. But the greatest class I would tell any 20-year-old is, if you could take a class, would be how to put someone in their place professionally.
Yes.
And that is a skill. And I'm so glad I took that class. And I was still like in my late 20s when I finally saw that class came in.
That was an
And I don't
actual
even,
class.
that was an actual class, because when I worked at the construction company here in Jersey, they would pay for professional development. So I was like, it was so the title of it was administrative assistant, like how to be the best administrative assistant. But you know how they have like
Oh,
little
yeah.
other classes.
Yeah, your subtopics.
Yeah. And choose one of these for the afternoon. So one of them for the afternoon was how to put people in their place professionally. And I was like, I have to take
You're like,
this.
"I sign me up." Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, my manager didn't see that. They just saw how to be the best administrative assistant. And I
Yeah.
wasn't going to tell them all the details.
No, I don't need to know all the
And it was great because I got to take a day off. It was a paid day. And my company would reimburse like your travel and your lunch. So they paid for your lunch too. So it was nice. And I got to learn how to do something that I didn't know how to, because I was, first generation blue collar girl, tell it like it is. We're from Jersey. We have pop attitudes. Okay. We're sometimes a little bit similar to New Yorkers. We tell you where you could go, but sometimes in the office setting, if you want to keep a job, you can't always say that. So,
Yeah, gotta keep it PG sometimes.
yes.
So, what message do you hope that listeners take away from your story?
Message from my story. Life is hard. Life is the ultimate university, and life is hard. But I think that we don't always have all the answers. I don't always have all the answers. I think it's about maintaining your ability to always learn. Stay open to learning, because life has a lot to teach us. Stay open, learn from other individuals. Grab like 5 podcasts that are educational, like the Spiritual Gangster podcast. Grab my podcast, Linda Love Talks. Mine's a seasonal. Yeah, I think that's the biggest lesson. Keep learning.
That's fantastic. So where is it that people can connect with you again to support your work?
Yes. So you can find me on LinkedIn under Linda Lemos. You can find my website under Linda Lemos. YouTube, just YouTube my name, Linda Lemos.
Okay.
I am on Facebook and I'm on TikTok, but I haven't learned how to do TikTok. I'm gonna confess, I'm still new to it.
I'm new to it too. I'm trying to figure it out.
Message me if you have points, if you have tips on TikTok.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, well, I will make sure to put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Like, your story, I wasn't expecting some turns there that I just did not know about. So I appreciate your time and your message. I think it's wonderful. And it's been so nice connecting with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put you on my guest list. In July, I start recording and you can be a guest over at.
Oh, fantastic. I would love to come and share my story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you.
Okay, you take care.